I've lived in this neighborhood for over a decade. It's a quiet place, with identical mailboxes, perfect lawns, and an HOA that likes to act like it runs the Pentagon. I never had much of a problem with them. I paid my dues, kept my hedges trimmed, and didn't rock the boat. But when my energy bills started climbing year after year, I knew it was time to do something. So I decided to go solar since the sun shines almost every day where I live. It just made sense. So I went through the process. I followed every rule in their big binder of bylaws. I submitted the panel layout. I picked a certified installer. And a week later, I got a formal letter in the mail. Application denied. Solar panels are not compatible with the neighborhood's aesthetic values. That was their entire explanation. I called to get clarity, thinking maybe I'd used the wrong design or installer. But the guy on the other end, some retired fellow who takes HOA power a little too seriously, just repeated the same line. "They don't look good," he said. "They'll bring down home values." Now, I'm not the type to fight every battle. But this didn't sit right. I knew there were state laws about this, rules that say homeowners have the right to install solar systems unless there's a legitimate reason to say no. And their ugly doesn't count. So I found a lawyer who'd handled similar cases. She looked at my application, the HOA's response, and smiled. "They messed up," she said. "Let's take it to arbitration." It took several weeks. The HOA sent their lawyer too. They argued that the panels would ruin the uniform look of the neighborhood. They claimed neighbors might complain, but when pressed, they couldn't point to a single written rule that flat out bans solar. Just vague language about appearances. My side pointed to the state statute, which clearly said HOAs couldn't block solar installations without reasonable cause, like safety risks or major structural issues, and mine had none. The arbitrator took his time, but eventually we got the ruling. The HOA's denial was unreasonable and unenforceable. They had to approve my application, and they were ordered to pay my legal fees too. A month later, the panels were up. It felt good, really good, watching those panels go in, knowing I'd stood my ground. But the real twist came a few weeks later when a neighbor from down the street stopped by. He wanted my installer's contact info. Then another neighbor asked if the HOA was still blocking applications. Turns out, I'd opened a door for the whole street. The HOA hasn't said a word to me since. They updated the handbook quietly, adding a new section about solar guidelines, mostly copied straight from the state law. I've heard they're trying to avoid another complaint. People say you can't beat an HOA, but I say if you follow the rules and know your rights, you absolutely can. You just have to be willing to speak up. Now, when I sit in my yard, I enjoy both the sight of nature in the trees and flowers and sky, and the sight of technology neatly arranged in order and making my life easier. My power bills have dropped. The neighborhood still looks great. And every time I see the sunlight hit my roof, I smile. For two reasons.